You see, the hawk wanted to get with the queen of the ducks. Okay,
which the ducks would have loved. The ducks love this idea.
The ducks loved it. And some of the crows even liked it, too. What was crazy is that the kite liked the hawk, but the hawk wanted to be with the queen of the ducks. But the kite also befriended an owl. And
the owl loved hearing the story of and that's the story of the ugly duckling.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we usually review the first volume of a brand new manga each week, but today it's more Berserk, baby! My name is Josh Magic the Berserker Michaels, and today, as always, I am joined by...
Megan Sussy Perrine.
Whoa.
It was Cody Firestarter Decker.
Yeah. I like it. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Volume 1. Today, we are covering the Falconia arc of Berserk. That is specifically in this video, volumes 28, 29, and 30. We are powering through Berserk. We're almost at the end. It's sad. It's a lot of emotions, but mostly it's nice to return to one of my favorite stories. I do have thoughts on this specific chunk of volumes compared to what we've been talking about previously with the last couple of arcs. I've been in love. I've been proclaiming that this is the greatest series ever written. And, every story, I guess, has a point where, there may be a little bit of a lull. And I feel like for me, it was in these couple of volumes. But before we ask, Cody and Megan what they think today, I am sporting my Band of the Cock Volume 1 shirt, which if you'd like to get one, there will be a link in the description below. And we always got to plug that Band of the Cock, dude.
Which is Megan's faction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Megan's faction, but it also says, it's got Josh's Jokers, it's got Megan's Monsters, and it's got Cody Gang right there for you guys who are a part of the Cody Gang. Link in the description below. Anyway, what did you guys think about these 3 volumes? Before we start going through it, feelings, thoughts. I want to hear them.
There's like one thing where I'm like, well, that felt kind of unnecessary, and then it felt like it was all a setup to the thing that gets me excited, which is when Guts says like an action hero line, and I'm like, yeah.
He did a lot of those.
Yeah,
he's like these couple volumes.
I like seeing him have more of a personality.
Yeah,
I can see him like talking and interacting with people.
Yeah, not just like I need to kill.
Yeah. So you do. It is nice to see like, oh yeah, like I remember someone approaching him, which he would just be like, step off. Instead he's like, oh, what do you want? What do you need? So that's nice to see. It felt like it dipped into like political intrigue or something for a second.
Yeah, a lot of that.
A lot of the monarchy.
Yeah, a lot of the monarchy bull.
Yeah.
You weren't done?
No, there's a word that is similar to monarchy
Malarkey?
Malarkey.
Oh, the monarchy malarkey.
Mm-hmm.
I was just proud of Megan for stopping herself from cursing this early in the episode.
Hey, well,
Did
I don't
she?
know if the title.
She went bull and then stopped.
I don't know if the title of the shirt is considered.
That you open this on. Actually,
no, you could say that.
You could say that.
Yeah, it depends on how it's meant.
So you can't use it.
Megan is a fan of roosters.
Yeah, so you just say that for the YouTube. I had really high expectations going in because obviously a lot happened in the last volume that we read. Like Charlotte's back. This King Fu is getting into it. I have no idea what to expect. We have the what are they called? I wrote it down. What are they called? I always forget the name of these things.
Yeah, I mean,
the mixture of the monster.
Yeah,
the war demons. That's what it is. So I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? And it kind of was. I feel similarly to you. Whereas like the first like 2 volumes I read, I had to take a nap just because it was like so much information. I felt like I was taking in. But it wasn't necessarily bad. I did like a lot of the moments. I did like a moment between Guts and Serpico got a lot more backstory again too, which I'm always a fan of. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna come out, dude.
Do it, please.
You guys, you were right. I think I finally warmed up to Farnese.
Finally.
I think I finally just broken down my walls. And
it took about, I was gonna say 30 volumes, but I guess she didn't show up until around the 12th or something.
Yeah, but still a lot.
Yeah,
a lot. But I think I've finally forgiven her.
Yeah, dude. For me, I don't know how you guys felt. I mean, but like, yeah, it was nice seeing Guts be, this kind, I guess, compared to how he's been previously. He's grown. He's attached to this group of people that he's on this journey with. He cares about them. He was put in a situation that was very similar to a situation he'd been put into before at the very beginning of the Black Swordsman arc, which there were kind of like panels that did seem to like parallel the two, especially when he was in the alley with that dark black trench coat on. It did seem like it was a direct, side by side or parallel of the Black Swordsman arc. And similarly in that arc, he was in a situation where he could have left, and he did want to leave. And so many times he's left people to die or to deal with whatever is the current threat on their own because he's got bigger fish to fry. In this, however, when Farnese like asked him to stay and to help, he like begrudgingly said like, all right, like, this is a little inconvenient, but I guess I'll help.
The charity. I mean, what else is he doing? I mean, his like main mission is kind of like misconstrued at this point for me, because it's like his main goal is to help Casca, I think, which is good because his main goal was to just only get to Griffith, and I think that's changed a little bit, and that's maybe why we're seeing so much of him like open up to this group of people, because it's not all just like rage towards one person. It's like, okay, I have hope now that I could possibly get Casca back, so I think it's good.
Go ahead.
Because they're all talking about what are we gonna do about this situation that arises one of the people, and just how he's like, I guess we have to go get her. Like, I like that. I was like, oh yeah, like he actually, because he's like, well, they, the food's bad now.
Yeah.
So.
And it's nice to see him, give this much of himself to people again after everything that happened to him. And there were standout moments for sure. There were a lot of moments where I was like, oh my God. And
I think in the beginning.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
There was a lot of hype moments in the beginning, and then it did like, when you go from all that stuff happening to like, okay, now we're going to like go into some character moments. I'm like, oh, that was a bit of a shift. I thought we were really ramping up for it.
Exactly. I felt exactly the same way. I thought, wow, we're doing this now. And then it was like almost taken away from us and replaced with like, again, the monarchy and war, and everybody watching at this point knows it. I don't give up. I think we could say it now. Fuck about the cushions.
And we just hit the
with the safe. We're in the safe zone now. I don't care about them. And not that this was like cushion heavy, but I mean it was very war army heavy. And before, I think what made that more interesting is because it involved Guts. It involved the Band of the Hawks. It involved characters that I cared about. Now, like I'm learning about armies and whole empires that I have no connection to, and am connected to no one in their army or in their group. And so it's just like I would turn the page, or I'm reading it digitally. I would scroll and see just like paragraphs of not only like what makes this army more powerful than that army, but like why they are fighting and what their goal is in this war, which...
Yeah, I was thinking, well, this felt like an easier read than some of the other ones, but that was because I was kind of like, is there anything I need to like remember from this dialogue? Okay, there's that guy acts like this. All right, no, okay, we can...
I really do think that every story, though, like all those moments that make Berserk so good, I guess to an extent you need some of this to have those moments mean something later on. But I don't think you need all of it.
I think anytime a fantasy setting wants to dip into like political intrigue stuff, that's always a huge gamble, because I've only seen like 2 stories make that like interesting, because usually it's like, oh, we're not going to do any of the stuff we were doing before about like magic or fighting, or which is where they left on. Yeah. And then like, okay, but what about politics? I'm like, oh.
And it was the most magical it had been up until that point. And just to see it kind of go back to how it kind of started, and then go back, like I said, focusing on like people that I don't care about, people that I have no connection to, and then feeling like Guts and the gang take a huge backseat to everything. And honestly, even Griffith, no Zod, kind of some Skull Knight in the beginning, but for like a couple pages. These volumes, I think are important. I'm sure they will be very important, but are kind of just
would have
some
been
of my least favorite, I think, so far.
I mean, if you love Farnese, it would have been it is a great moment for her to like get all of her stuff in. But then even Serpico kind of doesn't do as much as I would have liked him to do.
Yeah. I mean, I like I said, like I was super hype at the end of volume. What was it, like 29? When like the whole deal between like Serpico and Guts, like, are we doing this? Like, is this gonna happen? And it was cool, but I expected more. Maybe that is just because their relationship is changed, because he even says like, I don't have those motivations anymore. I have no need to do this with you anymore because I'm kind of like removed, or I'm going to kind of remove myself because of Farnese. But it was kind of just like, that was cool. The first fight that they had was way more intense, I feel.
Yeah.
But it was because of the heightened emotions and stuff, which I get, but
that's where it's like, that felt like that should have been like, oh, finally these guys are really going to go all out and fight. But
yeah.
I'm like, I've never wanted them to fight.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like, I didn't really feel like they didn't get along that much.
That's probably why it felt so like, I don't know. He was like, were you fighting full out? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't believe you, Guts.
No,
I don't believe you.
Because then they say like, well, we both kind of.
Yeah.
You know, so it did feel like, oh, was that we're just like messing around? Because it's like, you know, if they had a more like contentious relationship, it would have been like, all right, let's see this fight happen. But it was like, honestly, they got along like more than they didn't.
Yeah, like Guts respected him as a fighter.
Yeah,
like,
so
and that's saying
that's
a lot.
why I felt like we already went through this.
Yeah.
And it was like this build up to, I mean, this, what I assumed to be this like huge, or was going to be this huge epic battle.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a little underwhelming. I mean, yeah, it was fun. I mean, Serpico got to flex his strategic mind, and that was,
you know, well, it was like, yeah, that's smart, but it was just like, I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't like mind blowing.
No, it definitely wasn't mind blowing, but I mean, you know, that he put, you know, that thought into it, and that, you know, he played to his strengths, I guess, was cool. And he did it without his like fetishes too.
Yeah, this was because we got to introduce or reintroduce the character. And like that's why the beginning was like very like hyping me up, and then it was like it turned into a Farnese and Isidro.
Serpico or
Isidro, the kid.
Oh yeah.
Like he got to have a shining moment.
Yeah, I did like that. It was definitely more Farnese, character building. Towards the end of even like 29 and 30, it was kind of all about her, and everyone was kind of just like following along.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say Schierke did get a character moment too.
In the beginning, and then towards the end when she re-meets another character.
Yeah, she got that was a moment for her that I think was important, but
yeah, that's the stress. It's not like this is like a bad story. Like on its own, that's like it's a very solid like fantasy set. It's just what I was coming off of.
I mean, truly, the last, I would say, I mean, since we started Berserk, it felt to me like every volume was progressively better in every way, and this didn't get worse necessarily, but it did just sort of kind of plateau.
Yeah,
if
it was supposed to be the sort of rap, because it's like I don't pay too much attention to like where I am in the story, but it's like it's got to end soon. So I'm like, if this is if it was like, okay, we got to not wrap up, but we have to like conclude these like characters a little here. But then it's like, but then Serpico didn't really do much as far as being a person.
I mean, like, what do you want to see from him? Like, I mean, he has had a couple moments thus far that's like changed him, but I don't know what else he could like possibly do more of to like prove.
Well, it was,
or like solidify his character.
To me, in a way, it felt like in superhero movies, the sequel tends to be oftentimes that the heroes will lose their powers, and then they have to go on this whole adventure, and then at the end, they get their powers back. It did feel like that. At the end of these 3 volumes, they got the fetishes back, they got their daggers back, their silver, chainmail shirts back, and we're like, all right, now we know who we are and what we're here to do. But it did just feel like, and again, like, it also felt like what Farnese did. I understand why she did it. I think it was very important for her development as a character, and to like maybe anybody else who was on the fence about her, it won them over. Especially in your case, it's you're saying that it won you over, but it did feel like it came out of nowhere, and that it was just like so immediately like she truly did just like in the middle of a conversation get up, left, and then just like got stuck in this whole thing.
Yeah, and it was for a boat.
Yeah.
Like, it was for a boat. Like, they couldn't have had any other way to get a boat. Like, that was the only way. And I think that was, like, kind of an excuse on her end, because she kind of just admits that, like, I just wanted to try it out.
Sure, and to get ahead of the comments, like, they give a reason as to why that's important, and Farnese even admits that, you know, she might have just been doing it out of fear, but it did just feel like it happened a little too quickly. And given what she had become and started to mean to the team, like she was kind of doing something that ultimately was a really like terrible thing, because Casca had become dependent on her. You know what I mean? She left all that, you know.
Well, yeah, like her like thing of like, well, I just felt useless. So like, I want to, at least I can like help them by doing this. And then it's like, that's why I liked like Guts being like, we need to go get her, because it's basically like, no, we like needed her on the team.
Yeah, we need her on the team, and it's not like she was just helping Casca out. Like, she was like, oh, I want to learn magic too.
Which she was in the middle of.
Literally in the middle of doing.
Which felt a little, and then like she's given like an item, and then she's like able to like do a little thing.
Well, that's like after she's like, oh, I'm down to stay. Like, it was just kind of weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, even that, when she was in this position that she was in, I was like, oh, I saw maybe, you know, some Johnny Apple seeds being planted, you know, and I thought for a second, oh, I think I know what's going to happen. And then no, it didn't happen. And she wasn't able to tap into what I thought she was going to be able to tap into. So it was just like, man, you gave up, training, magic. You gave up like taking care of this, like, of Casca, who's this very important member of the group, who basically at this point is like attached to you and needs you. You know, you're cooking for everybody, you're feeding. Like, I get that she doesn't feel important. And I know she needed to do this to feel important, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it did just seem kind of like there was a better option. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when I got to the part where she's like, and I won't be returning, I feel like I was supposed to hear like the sting and like a drama.
Yeah,
of like what, and it gets like you get 5 reaction shots.
And I think we all knew, because what you're saying maybe too is that we all knew that she was gonna come back.
Yeah. So I mean it was well executed, you know, it was like well done and written what they did. But it was like, it felt kind of out of place given like, I mean, she was literally doing this. They just introduced this person. I'm like, oh, that seems like, you know, it's kind of like we're going to go to a ball right before we continue with the story.
Yeah. I will say though, that there are a lot of really cool things that happen, mostly in the beginning. And is there anything you want to say before we start to get into it?
No, I was just going to say, let's get into it.
Yeah. Because
well, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Get into it.
Because some of the coolest stuff happens immediately where they're on the beach. Skull Knight shows up,
which
out of the gate.
Always surprised how often he comes into these stories.
Yeah. And talks more about the armor. Schierke gets to ask him a little bit more about his relationship with her mistress,
which was cool. I mean, he finally admits it. I mean, we kind of like vaguely knew
they fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, it does definitely seem like they.
I was not gonna say that.
But they had a thing.
I was gonna say that he had worn the armor.
Oh right.
Yeah,
he says like that was my armor, and like I had a similar relationship to her as you have with
Schierke,
so you took it like,
and which you interpreted it as
they.
Well, Schierke definitely wants.
Oh, you're gonna push.
Oh, you're gonna push the envelope.
No, I mean, Schierke definitely wants something. You know,
when backed into a corner, sometimes all you can do is lash.
So that's all you can do is climb.
Yeah. But anyway, he admits that that they were friends, and that this is a dangerous thing that he used to wear, and that he, I think, kind of flat out says that he lost his humanity because of this, or this had something to do with him losing his humanity.
He says like, he's like, oh, you'll lose many things. It was like COVID. He's like, you lost your smell, taste. He's like, how did you know? And he's like, you have COVID.
Yeah.
No, but that's what he said. And Guts was like, oh, okay, that's the reason why I am feeling this way. But then immediately goes, that can never happen to me. It's like, okay.
I liked.
I mean, he's literally telling you that it could.
And it happened kind of once already.
Yeah.
I like that too, where he's like, it won't happen again. I have the thing, and and there was like, oh, is it the thing? Where like, well, now like I'll just willpower through it, and then he doesn't, which I liked. And he was like, yeah, I guess I can't do that, but I feel like it'd be more common to have him just be like, yeah, that happened once. It's not an issue anymore.
Mm-hmm. I did like that too, because I didn't know where this confidence was coming from, and it was nice to see him be kind of human in that moment, or have those flaws.
You know what? Maybe because he like never had to say what his plan was out loud for like so long, that like there was always like this like, oh, he must be really confident and knowledgeable about it. But now he's like, no, I'll now that he's like actually talking to me, like, no, I will power my way through it.
I'm just winging it.
I'm just winging it, and he's like swinging it.
And
then he's wrong. He's like,
yeah, because he's never had to deal with like the magical items that are this powerful before. I mean, he's dealt with apostles and pseudo apostles, but the way they're talking about this armor is that it is one of the most dangerous. What do they call it? It's not a fetish, or maybe it is a fetish, but I think an enchanted item.
I think they use the word fetish.
Yeah.
Studio.
Okay. But what's I think even crazier is that while all this is happening, and this is cool too, but what's kind of even crazier is what Casca's doing on the beach. And what's happening with her.
When I saw that child, I was like, no fucking way are they doing this right now. No way they're doing this right now. No way.
I don't know how.
No way.
I don't know what's going on, but that's Guts Jr.
Yeah.
But I don't know how. Because
there's
I was like,
of
church and state.
Literally getting emotional. I was like,
yeah.
And then I can't.
Wow, Megan's really having a strong reaction to it.
And they're on the beach, and she's just like cuddling him, and they're like, "Who the fuck is that kid?"
Yeah,
yeah, I like that. Is that a runaway? Should we take him in anyway? I mean, because I was like, man, I loved Guts Jr. as a character, and it was like, oh, is he just dead now? That sucks.
The last time we saw him outside of the conviction arc, I think, is maybe we did get a sense. Griffith kind of flashed back to him in the graveyard when they were with Erica and I always get his name wrong, but Rickert. I always get Judeu's name wrong, but with Rickert and Erica, and Griffith embraced Casca, or like, had this like instinct and flashed back to Guts Jr. and said, something along the lines of like, or felt like this entity or this, child was in him. And then we haven't heard anything or seen anything about Guts Jr. since then. Well,
they said like, like it'll always come back. Like some way, somehow it's connected to both of you, to both of you. So it'll always come back. So I just think it's like a reincarnated version or something along those lines. It's definitely magical and mystical, and he can do things like Guts Jr. So yeah,
I mean, let's think about it, dude. I mean, you're talking about,
has to be,
because a lot of conversations in these 3 volumes are about what is Farnese trying to do. Farnese is trying to create her ethereal body, right? That's the whole point of her trying to envision, this apple with her eyes closed, so that she can that sort of transcend. So maybe we're learning about all this, and we're seeing like how hard it is for Farnese to do it, because that is sort of what Guts Jr. is doing, right? Projecting their astral body into a physical form.
Yeah, he still can only do it on full moons,
because that's when the magic is the strongest, right?
The magic is the strongest. I mean, I don't know if he was just like able to break free from Griffith, or that wasn't part of the deal. So like once like he was like, once that was, is still able to like freely roam.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I think what you're saying too about the full moon is a big part of it, obviously, right? But like if Guts Jr.'s soul is attached to Griffith, you're saying that it could be because that wasn't part of the deal, or maybe he was able to break free for that night or something. But I just don't understand how he would be able to do that. even on a full moon. Like this ended. Does he go back to Griffith after? Is he like pulled back?
Well,
You know?
it's like, where is he when he was the fetus boy? Where was he in between showing up then? When he just like returned to like the. And
That's
also,
true.
what I thought, I don't know if I feel like he was stronger when he was a fetus than he is now, because he did do like a magic thing of like making them like go away, but I feel like he was able to do much more so like, is he like, by like the more he ages and becomes more human, the less ethereal he becomes?
That'd be kind of cool.
Sort of on the twilight of realms.
I think that'd be awesome, actually. But he is tethered, I feel like, to Griffith still somehow, even though they don't really say it.
Well, and that's why it's like with all that all where like the questions that this opens and how it's just like no one really dwells on it that much.
Well, the thing is, I mean, the child's there. We get to see Guts and Casca be parents for a minute.
Stop.
Not being able to be near him, even though they both have like a. Are you? And then, and she's like, you can't see your son.
Yeah. They really did jump into. They fell right into that.
That's where it became like a 90s comedy where Casca is like, you can't see your son ever again. He's like, I gotta get a job, or the judge won't let me see.
Yeah, and they had that moment where the baby kept looking at him, and then Guts would look at the baby, and the baby would turn away. You know.
And then he's like hopping on his back, and they're like hugging together.
And then Casca like takes him off.
Yeah, Casca's a great mom. I just want to say that.
And we didn't even mention.
Keeps losing sympathy points.
We didn't even mention. When they're going to Hanafubuku, which is the Elven lord, and Skull Knight pretty much said like they can probably help Casca regain Casca.
So here's
back.
my theory.
So that's crazy.
I don't know if now's the time for a theory, but here's my theory.
Game theory.
Yes. So what I think is going to happen, right?
Ethereal beings.
Ethereum. Take stock in what I'm about to say right now. I don't know.
That wasn't
Wow,
bad.
that was
Okay.
really good.
That was pretty
I was
quick,
expecting
too.
it to be bad.
Yeah.
But, okay. You really
all right.
brought it back from the opening, I think.
The opening. What did I do? Okay. Don't dig my hole any deeper. Accept the victory. Move on.
Mhm.
I think out loud now. But I think what's going to happen is because yes, they're going to go to the land of the elves. The most powerful, their leader, their king, could possibly, the Skull Knight says, give Casca her mind back, right? But he also warns Guts that might not be her wish, right? So she's going to get whatever she wants, but it's only going to be one thing, and it might not be for her mind back. What I do think is that she's attached to now Guts Jr., seeing him in physical form.
Yes.
And so she's going to wish for him to be free from Griffith. She's going to wish for him to be alive. She's going to wish for him to be human or a baby or whatever. And then she's going to stay the way she is.
See, you took it like that, and I didn't take it as like you get one wish for the elf king. I took it as like, even if she regains consciousness, like, do you think that she would still want to be with you?
I think so, yeah. I think
She
absolutely
really
why.
like kind of hates him.
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
she seems to have affection for Griffith, so it's like, well, something's wrong there.
No, I mean, dude, she's
scared of him.
She was connected to
I
Griffith
mean-
because she sensed the child in Griffith. Dude.
Rightfully so, though, now, unfortunately. Guts kind of fucked up.
Oh yeah, well, Guts.
Oh yeah, there was that whole thing.
Yeah.
And he did
There
like
was the
pretty much
biting.
kill.
Maybe he can wish.
pretty much killed Guts Jr. too the first time.
Did he?
I don't know.
Yeah,
if
he did. Yeah, he kind of did.
How?
Or he like tried to take it away, right? And then it like disappeared or whatever.
When? This time?
When it was first born, when Guts Jr. was first born. Remember that? That's why she was like, "Don't touch him," or "Don't touch me." That was kind of like the start of it when she like ran away for the first time, and then
Oh, when they first saw him on the hill or
Mhm.
whatever, the grassy knoll.
the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Shout
think
out
that.
to the JFK assassination. That was a
Don't.
reference to Berserk.
Oh,
Don't shout that out. But I do think.
Can you-
it's a tragedy.
I mean, he was corrupt, wasn't he?
It
and
doesn't
I think
matter.
that the government had something to do with that.
Of course. I mean, no, they didn't.
I mean, absolutely.
Actually,
We're gonna get
joke.
flagged.
I couldn't be more against anything than saying the government was behind something.
And that is what you call a joke for the algorithm. You know.
Classic algo joko.
Yeah, just to be very clear. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I did take that as she's gonna wish for the child to have sentience or be alive or be untethered from Griffith, and I don't think she's going to be able to get her mind back.
I maintain the theory that Guts is going to make a wish, and then it's going to result in him waking up in a bed, and then he has an office job, and then Guts Jr. and Puck is the name of his dog, and it's a little terrier.
We saw a lot of good cozy Guts moments in these volumes too. Him all tucked away in a bed, resting. You never see him in a bed.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that.
Unfortunately, it's just like he wasn't doing anything.
I like that it's like, oh, he's been severely injured. So what does he do now when he's not fighting? He is recovering in bed.
He's cute. Let him rest.
I would let him rest if the other people were capable of carrying this story. Okay. And I think Serpico is, and I think, Schierke is. I think they are.
Yeah, we need a Schierke, a Cedro, and Guts Jr. Sequel spinoff where now there's steampunk also.
What?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, yeah.
Huh?
It's the future, so it's steampunk now.
Yeah, like it's like all grown up.
but
But
the Rugrats.
steampunk Berserk?
All guts up.
Yeah, all gutsed up with you. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I think. I'm curious to know if anybody else listening, watching, without spoiling anything, has a little more insight. I'm sure you do. Curious to see where this all ends. But anyway, after that, they have a very heartfelt moment, and then they get into a fight with these new they're animals, but they are being there are cushions that are casting spells on them that are using these ethereal spirits to possess them. What makes that like a threat to them is that now when Schierke casts her barrier, physical things can still come through that barrier of this world. It only deflects astral things. So they can come through. They're still affected by it, but if they keep pushing, they can come through. So these things don't really, her magic doesn't really help them as much.
Unless you get to like the source.
Yeah.
Unless they get to the cushions that are like putting out that vibe.
Casting that spell.
Putting out that vibe.
Putting out that
I want a
vibe.
modern magic story where they call it the vibe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, write that down.
Yeah, you're putting out ill vibes. He's a member of the ill vibe.
Yeah, he's mastered the ill vibe, the ill vibians.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I don't know.
I like the video game setup of like there's gonna be endless waves of enemies until you find like the spawn point, and then you have to hit that a couple times, and then it'll break apart.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they're doing. But these animals are pretty crazy. Like I like how Serpico's like, it's a freaking huge lizard. And then it's just like, no, it's a crocodile. And I was like, okay. And honestly, every time like Serpico and Isidro fought together with Guts, I was like, this is awesome. Like they finally kind of all fit into place. Like Isidro's really pulling his weight now a little bit more. And I just love to see it.
Yeah, this is still where I was on board.
That's why it felt a little out of place, because it's like, I didn't even think there was any issues in this dynamic anymore. And it seemed like there wouldn't be if it wasn't just like, by the way, I'm going to get married or...
Yeah, engaged, yeah.
Because then after that, like, and this is where...
And then Guts fights like a giant elephant fish.
That ended up being like a whale, I think.
It was a whale.
It was like, it was a whale-elephant. And they're like, what kind of animal is that? And they're like, it's in the
when
sea.
it took its true form again, it was in a smaller panel too. And they said like, oh, now... Before, just to not brush over it, because I think something important does happen during that fight, is that he gets possessed by the Berserker Armor again. And then loses his control immediately.
Yeah, which I'm just like, this is so cool. Like when you see, we're like so excited to see the Berserker Armor, and then it just turns out to be like the worst thing that could ever happen to Guts. Like,
yeah, because like, I don't even think it was necessary as a power-up.
No, it really is just hurting him.
Really, yeah.
It's really just hurting him and like possessing him. And then he literally like, Isidro's like, oh, like I heard, people, they get possessed, they kill everyone around them. And then immediately he starts like looking back and then he's like, oh, well, I called it. I jinxed it, didn't I? I jinxed it.
Yeah, I think, I think, was it Serpico, right? Who said that?
Yeah, Serpico was saying that, and Isidro was like, okay, well, you just jinxed it, dude. Thank you for saying that out loud and speaking it into existence. Because the minute he says that, he's just like turns around and is like ready to kill. Yeah. And then that's when Schierke brings him back.
Well, that's what Berserker, and that's what I liked about it too. Like in fantasy, like that's what, berserkers do, right? And just to like kind of have never really made the connection that like obviously when we started reading this arc, yeah, but like hearing the name Berserk for so long, like it never really made the connection. Kind of weird, embarrassing to admit, but it was really cool to see him. He's like, yes, very embarrassing to admit. It was really cool to see him be in that like full berserker mode, even though he did turn on them.
I like that it's just this. It's a symbiote.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's great.
Or I thought like, oh, it's kind of like that, but no, it has like a shadow mask that like reaches over him and forms like jaws.
Yeah, that was really cool too. I never assumed that it would work that way because it did always look like armor, but the fact, that it crawls up his back and he can like push it back down.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we get that like beautiful like panel of like Schierke like bringing him out of the state that he's in. That was so cool.
But before she did that, someone else showed up.
That's right.
Because there was this just like energy in the shape of a human, I guess,
which I thought was Puck for a second.
I thought it was Schierke for a second.
I thought it was the mistress.
The mistress.
Yeah, because the mistress did take a form similar to that.
Oh,
she did, but she was bigger. Yeah,
she was bigger. Maybe
I thought it was the mistress.
Maybe this is like Little Mistress. Instead of like Guts Jr. Maybe it was a Little Mistress.
Okay. Little Mistress and Guts Jr.
Yeah, Little Mistress.
Rom-com spinoff coming out.
It's like Muppet Babies.
Yeah.
You little missed that joke.
It wasn't a joke. It was like, it'd be kind of cool.
Well, it wasn't a joke.
It was a statement. Little missed that statement.
Well, it wasn't a joke.
Little missed the chance to say it.
Well, I think we're now, and now you guys are still saving me?
No.
Or now you guys are making
No.
Or now you guys are making it worse and drawing more attention to something that was apparently bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I didn't know until Guts had that flashback or that moment where he was like, could it have been?
It couldn't be.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was Guts Jr.
God.
So that might explain where where it goes off to now. Maybe it's in the Berserk armor.
You think?
Well, that was the last place we saw it.
No, we saw it was standing because Casca was like looking for the kid everywhere because it and the lost battle, and then he was like on top of like a building or something near the moon, and he was just like staring at him, right?
Wasn't?
I do think I remember that.
Because didn't he like at that so he can be in the physical form and in the? Because I assume that Berserker mindset is like an ethereal realm.
Maybe he just like transported out of the body again.
Well, because this was like after the fight. This was after all that happened, and then like as they're walking away, he's like, "Could that have been?" He kind of looks up, and then there looks like there was something there, and then he looks again, and then it's gone.
Oh yeah. And then they're like, "What happened to that kid?" Oh, he probably went home.
Yeah.
How they're like. That probably wasn't supernatural. I mean, we just fought a bunch of crocodiles that were controlled by sorcerers, but I guess the kid wanted to, maybe he was in trouble.
Maybe his parents came and got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they picked him up. They were late.
And then the fact that like I think they did say like, oh, we'll go check villages in the morning or something. And they're like, okay.
I mean, given the situation, you would assume he was killed by the magic crocodiles or the elephant whale.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna say too. Like when that elephant creature thing turned back into its like animal form, there was just a giant whale laying in the middle of the street.
Okay, all right. I'll say adding elephant. I feel like that was unnecessary.
Like
from the wizard's perspective, why give it an elephant trunk? You already have octopuses.
That's cool.
I think from like if you're gonna do that, like you could do like an octopus. You could have more tentacles. You could have more like from a magic point of view, why not cast it on something that could have technically 8 trunks, but also why did it get an elephant trunk? I don't know.
Is it like you have to is it like Animorphs where you have to touch the animals and then you can like merge them? I think there's a super who can do that.
Well, they say it's
Animal
like
Man.
You can do. Can he do that?
I think so. Maybe not. I think so though. But anyway, go ahead, Megan.
Forgot what I was gonna say.
You ever read Animal Man?
Nope.
Great. I read it when it got rebooted in the New 52, and then immediately dropped.
You know, it's funny. Anytime a DC character's like, I read it in the reboot, it's like, which one?
Yeah, exactly.
You can talk about the same character, and it's like it's just completely different stories.
It's unfortunate, but
the 8th reboot where they're like, this evil Superman, he broke the world of reality. We have to start over.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a mess over there at DC. But yeah, man. I mean, this is kind of where it got the most interesting to me. And then after this, because like what really was the next like really big thing that happened after this? They had this battle, the kid, the spirits, Schierke saves Guts, the Berserker Armor, Skull Knight, all this. And then that ends. And then they set off to go to the elf kingdom, which they now have like directions to, or they now kind of know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
But to get there, they go into this city. And then once they go into this city, it really did feel like from that point on, I was just out slowly. Not that Schierke's moment in this city wasn't nice, but she meets Sonia at a certain point. Who
I'm not cottoning to.
No, yeah, she's up to some
she's up
shit.
to something for sure.
Yeah, she's sneaky. She's sussy. I don't believe anything she says. She looks like she got crazy in her eyes for sure.
Well, you know that someone's up to something when there's this panel of them and they're like reaching their hand out like this, like come with me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know that Griffith set out to destroy her mistress because she was a witch. They're related to Griffith. That guy, what's his name?
Mule.
Mule is looking for a witch. They're trying to just take her back to...
Yeah, for sure it's a trap. There's like, I guess like one of the bits before that would be like, you know, now like Schierke's like naked and like falls on top of Guts. I thought that was, and then they have a whole thing where it's like, oh, the Griffith's like lover Charlotte, I'm jealous of, like, then it's like the psychic girl when she's talking to Schierke, I'm like jealous, and I'm like, I loved him too. And it's just like, there's just like Griffith's story right now is just like two, like, from what I can tell, underage girls like being like in love with him.
Well, yeah, that kind of happens like, yeah, after when it's like, I think that happens like when Sonia goes back after this like meeting with Schierke. But yeah, there's that moment where, and Megan was talking about this too, about it like it feeling unnecessary to you, like that Schierke moment where she is like, not only is she naked and a child, but she has to fall on top of Guts while he's asleep, like, and have a beat there, panting over him. It just seemed yeah.
Yeah, I was like, was this necessary to the plot at all? I mean, I mean, I don't know. It's just very out of place.
Yeah, like I would believe it if like a guest writer wrote some of this and like, let me do some music bullshit, and then it was like, okay, well, she has to fall on him.
Well, what was crazy, and you know, rest in peace, Kentaro Miura. You're a goat, and you know, you are and always will be a legend, and you will be remembered fondly. But he must have been feeling something when he was writing or drawing these pages, because it was naked Casca, it was naked Schierke, and then right after that, it was naked Farnese.
There was one shot
it's like
of
you gotta
naked
fit him
Casca,
in.
by the way, that I felt like it was just like two like big circles when it showed her backside. I'm like, I don't think she's ever been drawn like that. I just took note of. There was just one panel where specifically Casca was shown with a much larger posterior than she normally is, and I was like, something's amiss here. You can't sneak that stuff by me.
Yeah, it's just not canon.
You did notice that. I think you even noticed that in Makima as well.
Yeah.
I
was to the point where I thought it was a plot point, legitimately.
Oh my god.
Something is happening with her character.
Something is when you think about Makima. If you really think about her character and the
storing
complexities.
demonic powers in her ass.
I'm gonna tell you, I pay attention to stories, and given her power set, mayhaps this be involved in the demonic ethereal realm. Even
I think,
is this a Berserk reference?
Is it a Berserk reference? And it's not a theory that has been completely debunked yet. Either.
No one debunked it. And I don't think it ever can be, because I think it holds water.
Okay. Okay. I do want to say too, really quickly, that, you know, before anybody, and you know that when you already get ahead of it, that there's already people who have commented. Before people say that needed to happen, it really didn't, because everything else leading up to it, we already knew that Schierke, because of how she was looking at Guts and how she was talking to other people about Guts, felt this way about Guts. We didn't need that moment of her on top.
A part I did like about that was when she's being like teased, like, "Oh, you're in love with Guts, aren't you?" And she's like, "No, he's just an adult who's giving me attention."
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a very mature, like, way of explaining this.
That's what she said, yeah.
Yeah, you know, normally they would just leave it as they would have the character. They go like, no.
Yeah.
But like her just like being like, no, it's not like I'm not in love with him. It's just like he's like he's gonna be a parental figure now because she kind of just lost her only one.
Yeah.
I like the maturity of that.
Mm-hmm.
I like if it wasn't for that like one scene.
Yeah. And we like during that cityscape thing, like we do see some really cool scenes, like that brick alleyway panel.
Yeah, amazing.
I was like, it was amazing. And then like obviously Schierke sees it goes back into like, oh well, like the Kushans are like slaves in this country, so we're just kill them. And then I mean she's able to like influence people with her magic, which is kind of like the first time we've seen that of her.
No, she did it before.
She did it?
Mm-hmm.
With who?
She did it and they were in the cave and she was doing it to the trolls and she was doing it.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I missed that.
Yeah. She was doing it a lot. Actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of one of her main.
Schierke.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah. And I did like how they're talking about like the Band of the Hawk again and Guts is just like playing it cool. Like they're just like talking so highly of him and they're just like, yeah, this guy was amazing. And Cedra's like fanboying over this like guy in the Band of the Hawk and how he killed like whatever, he said like a crazy number and he's like, okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah,
like, I don't say that about it. Like blushing.
Yeah, that was cool.
I'm at a point now where anytime I see the pages that are like all that detail, I just like kind of let out a chuckle and I'm like, all right, you got another one. And, like it's like it's not as like now it's like this is just a part of it where you'll just read it and you're like, oh, and then here's just a piece of like art.
Yeah.
And you can stop and you can enjoy it and you can take it in. I did like that too because it did let you know, like in the sense of the world, like how popular the Band of the Hawk was, how well known, how renowned they were. That everybody, all across Midland, all across what feels like that in their entire world, like knows about Griffith, knows about the Hawks Raiders, like knows about them, and there are already kind of legends about them. And so that was kind of cool to know how impactful Guts was like in the history of this world already before the eclipse.
Yeah.
I liked how I thought at first Isidro knew who he was.
No.
Because like everyone's talking about how great Griffith is and Guts is sort of just like
and a hater.
And Isidro,
like an unknown hater. Like, why are you hating on him?
Yeah. Isidro like, who's really cool? The head of the army guy. Now that was, and I thought like, oh, is he like hyping up? And he's like, you should talk about what was his name? Was it Guts?
Yeah.
But no, he just was a genuine fan of that guy, and I guess they've never talked about.
Well, yeah, and we see that happen again later with like another person at the castle, and it is just cool that like he has these like fanboys, I guess, who are just like, yeah, that guy was fucking cool.
Yeah.
There'd be a 30-foot guy who had like a some beast face, and he would just chop him in half.
Yeah, man.
Don't forget that kind of stuff.
Oh,
no, dude, everybody loves Griffith, dude, but no one talks about the other guy enough, dude. The Hawks Raider. I was gonna make maybe a Raiders joke.
But
yeah,
let's go Raiders.
That's really all you can do.
Yeah. But yeah, it was.
I like
cool.
that their mascot is just a guy wearing a football helmet.
Yeah,
I like
that the most meta.
I like that their mascot is themselves, which is the deepest, and it's sort of. I think that is where a parallel between Berserk and the Raiders can come in.
Well, check this out. Check this connection out.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but does that Raiders logo have an eye patch? Yes or no?
I think it does.
I think it does too.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh
and
my.
Speaking of eye patches, we meet a pirate. I dropped the ball at the end, but yeah.
Real Captain Hook fella, if you will.
Yeah, and then again, this is where it really was just, it turned into a swashbuckling, and even like you can feel Miura going in this moment. Like, yeah, I'm just going to throw a pirate in here and have fun. Because he was like classically a pirate.
Yeah, and they're like, no, we're not pirates. We're just slave traders. We're not like criminals, which I thought was a great little political thing.
Yeah.
And then it's a guy comes out and is like, well, that's clearly a...
Like, he's got an eye patch, a hat, a hook, a peg leg.
Just how it'll dip into like cheesy action.
Yeah.
Stories.
And even before like that before that all went down, like that's when Sonia and Schierke had that moment, right? Where like Sonia kind of opened up to her and told her like this fable that was like real about her being birds. Like birds were related a lot of bird talk.
Yeah,
How do you feel about that?
I was really for it because she's like, I'm this bird and
a
kite.
Yeah, and she was like, you're an owl, and I'm like, she totally is. Yeah, that is absolutely her bird.
That was cute.
You know much about kites?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Was there pigeons?
I don't know.
They kind of look like a pigeon.
I thought it was a pigeon,
Well,
and just the fancy word for it was a kite.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do know is pigeons used to be domesticated, and then we just stopped caring about them after we stopped needing pigeon caring.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many pigeons, because we bred them.
Maybe in the future we'll be saying that about dogs. You know.
They've lasted a bit, but yeah, it's like, are you kidding me? We gave up on birds?
I mean, a lot of people I think still have birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool people.
Yeah.
And we do get canon solidified evidence that Griffith's plan with Charlotte is to have a baby.
Yeah, but I feel like we've been knowing that.
I
didn't know exactly,
for sure.
Baby. I thought it was the union of marriage will provide him in like a royalty thing. I didn't know it was still like, have a kid, which everyone is like, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, breed to have like a strong, like she says, like a strong child, which is like heavily implied because obviously he is not fully human anymore, so that is going to be a part of it.
That's where it's weird because okay, now Guts Jr. has visibly aged at this point. Charlotte hasn't, and then like Sonia, she's like talking about it like wistful, and she's like, I wish it was me, and I'm like, well, this is weird.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense for her to be obsessed with him.
It's just what is Griffith setting up here? Like it's not like it's never someone his age being like,
no, but it's not about. I don't think it's solely about that. She is obviously a person who has magical abilities, and she can like read minds and like pretty much do what Schierke does, but not to like a crazy extent. Like she does. I don't know if she like knows magic, but she's just a part of that like realm.
Yeah, Schierke's a witch, and I feel like Sonia's a medium.
Yeah, so
and
I think
and
I'm
boosted.
a large. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're what?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was good. That's why I wanted to like give it some time.
Yeah, Schierke's a witch, right? Sonia's a medium, and I'm an extra large. Okay.
Are you?
No, I'm a large.
Yeah. You didn't have to.
I wanted to up the ante. If I'm going to repeat it,
you didn't have to exaggerate.
Ooh.
And we're back.
And we're like back. I don't know. Are we like back right now, or is it just me? But we do get that, and I just don't think it's like in any way like a sexual type of thing with their relationship. I just think he was like the same with the band The Hawk, like I'm gonna get the strongest people for my team, and he knows that obviously she likes him, so he's just like, this is a plus.
Charlotte?
With Sonia.
Oh no, yes, Griffith doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Sonia does, obviously. She can read minds. She can hear their telepathic conversations. She can sort of predict the future or see the future.
Yeah, she can show others the future.
Yeah, she has abilities, but she can't cast spells. And she is like impressed by magic. When she sees Schierke do magic, she's like, is that magic? I can't believe I get to see magic. And she, has felt like an outcast her whole life. That ugly duckling story goes on for way too long. It is just
I like how there's an ugly duckling and then it just falls off the rails after that.
Yeah, and then she goes, and the other bird was a swan? No, a kite. And it's just like, this kite
is me after a hawk, and then crows.
Yeah.
And then so the crows were attacking the kite's homeland, and then a hawk came in, and then they got a bunch of birds, including some crows. You know, not all crows are bad. And we got crows in.
What was Charlotte? What bird was she?
Charlotte?
Oh,
she showed Charlotte.
No, there was like the queen
hair.
of the ducks.
The queen of the ducks, she was a duck too.
You see, the hawk wanted to get with the queen of the ducks. Okay,
which the ducks would have loved. The ducks love this idea.
Ducks loved it, and some of the crows even liked it too. What was crazy is that the kite liked the hawk, but the hawk wanted to be with the queen of the ducks. But the kite also befriended an owl.
Yeah, and the owl likes my story, right?
There was this and then the kite was talking to an owl and telling the owl a story about ducks. And it's just like,
Schierke's like, I don't want to be. I'm an owl. She just kind of plays along with it and like blushes.
The owl if the owl does like this story, and, it's just like, okay.
And the owl loved hearing the story of and that's the story of the ugly duckling.
Yeah.
Yay!
I do like that kind of like, I get it. It was cool. It was funny, but it went on for so long and it got more muddled as it went on.
Like, so then there's a queen duck, and that's
And I love how they drew Charlotte as a duck. Like they put hair on a duck and gave her a crown. And we're like,
Yes.
oh, that's Charlotte.
But then everybody was afraid of the eagle. Okay.
Now there's an eagle.
Right.
You're like, okay, why are eagles bad? Well, eagles hate ducks.
Well, the eagle hates the hawk. I'm
Hates
just trying to
dog.
think of what bird.
Yeah.
Guts would
Yeah.
be.
Well,
Well,
eagles
that's
are
the problem. Is
huge.
he's a wolf.
Eagles
Yeah, I
are
know.
huge.
He'd be a falcon.
Falcons
Okay,
are
yeah.
Okay. With that reaction, tell me about our bird.
because the eagles are huge.
Well, let's just say this.
Have you ever seen an eagle up close?
No.
They are insane. I never thought they were this big.
Speaking
They're probably
of
like this
falcon,
big. Their head is like
Eagles
this
or
big.
falcons?
Eagles.
Their head is
No, I swear. No, I swear. I've seen one in a zoo. I saw one in a zoo in Big Bear. It was huge.
Okay, wait. Wait. You're saying from the table to here is the size of an eagle's head.
Right here.
So from the table
Yes, this is.
to here.
You're saying that's the size of an eagle, not the size of the eagle's head.
No, not the size of the eagle's head. I mean,
I was gonna say,
the
maybe
head
that's a
is.
dinosaur.
The head is the top.
Okay, thank
You've
God.
had some sort of
And
encounter.
the eagle's feet are right here. And it's fat.
Thank God, because you kept saying like, no, this is the size of his head, and like, how was I supposed? Thank God, thank you. Wow.
All right, we'll go with eagle for eagle for guts,
You.
a falcon for Serpico.
Falcon.
Well, this alk.
But we're
this-
keeping falcon. I'm not giving up on falcon.
sure. And this arc, I was gonna say, is called Falconia. So
Oh my god.
yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
it does make sense. Anyway, Schierke has that moment where she does feel like she has finally somebody that she can relate to and that can get her. She says, I think, her magic problems. She's like, it's nice that someone can understand like my magical problems.
My magic problem.
And it is cool. This is cool, not just because we get to feel Schierke really question how she feels about Guts and her place in this group and who she is now that she doesn't have her mistress, because there's that moment where she's like, ethereal beings passing on doesn't mean what it means to humans. Like, it just means that we're going to see each other again. And Guts is like, yeah. And she looks up, she's like crying and bawling,
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. What I like about it is that it shows that like Mule is a Cedro, Mule is Griffith the Cedro, and Sonia is Griffith Schierke.
Mhm.
And it's cool because you get to see the two of them meet up without at least two of them knowing who the other two are, right? And so that's fun because I like to see in teams who the opposite version of that.
When worlds collide.
Yeah, who the Bizarro or the evil version of them will be.
Yeah.
And so that was cool, but it was just a pirate fight, and
Yeah, there's just they then see a group of kids who looked a lot like us Jr. And I thought like, oh, is this gonna take what's gonna happen here?
It looked like Casca. Do you think Casca's a?
who the kid?
Oh, the kids?
He's
The
talking about the
kids.
slave kids. Yeah.
Yeah, the kids.
They all
the
had like
slave
the
kids.
long black
Yeah,
hair.
yeah. They all kind of look like Casca.
What you think? So you're saying you think Casca's a cushion?
Yeah, she
Maybe.
might be.
She honestly, she might be.
That would make sense because she does have a completely different skin color than
Yeah,
everyone
she
else in
honestly
the
might be.
story.
What if that ties into the?
Maybe that's why we keep getting so much cushion shit.
That's why
we
she
get-
got more cushion.
for the push. Yeah, you did it. You did it.
You're right, Megan. I think Megan has truly cracked the code of Berserk. I'm gonna have to soak that in for a bit.
Yeah. While you do that,
Much like she did in the bath.
Yes.
But yeah, but
Don't
yeah,
distract him more.
Yeah, that
there's
was a good one.
group of slavers and like they're
was
against it. And this is when a Cedro who's like supposed to like keep an eye on jumps in. He gets like moments where he's like, doesn't he like instinctually just like do an attack and it's like
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, that was the first time I slashed someone down.
I
Which
always-
was cool.
like that in stories where there's monsters when someone like, oh, I fought monsters and they fight a human. It's like, oh, this is much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is incredibly easy to kill a human compared to what I've had to do.
Yeah.
That was a cool moment. I think just because of the number of humans, though, he was still going to get to a point where they were going to overpower him. Or
I like
Mhm.
that the powers duo of him with Puck too, where he was like, because he did it, and I like this whenever it's like whenever there's a team and like one person's in trouble, but it's kind of left unnoticed that maybe they could have handled it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Where like Puck was like, okay, I'm gonna let out like a flare,
close
and then
your
you
eyes, yeah.
and then you can attack, and then like the fight gets interrupted.
Yeah, I thought all of that was cool. At the end of that fight too, that's where Sonia like extends her hand to Schierke and says like, "Come with me, like." We have all kinds of people back at our
crows.
camp. Yeah,
We have
crows.
Lots of
Dogs.
people. They all live in harmony. There's not human.
Yeah, come to our
ones.
aviary. where-
Yeah. It's very like Pinocchio.
I guess a little bit. Yeah.
Going to the I don't know what the island is called where they
Pleasure
take the
Island?
kids, Pleasure Island, and they take the
Oh, is it
kids and
really
they make
called
them.
that?
They make them donkeys. That movie is dark.
I mean, just Pleasure Island seems a little crazy to me.
Yeah, but it's just, I guess it's just generally pleasurable. Well,
Yeah.
even the word pleasure now.
yeah.
A location of pleasure is not any. You would never think it's gonna like. What do they have, like candy?
Even that. I mean, it sounds more sinister. The more we
I mean,
talk
it
about
is sinister. They literally go there and turn into donkeys. They never see their
Yeah.
parents again. But yeah, she's up to something. Sonia,
Don't trust
I was
her. I don't trust her.
surprised that she let her like go.
That seemed like plan A was to get her to go willingly.
Mhm, mhm.
Willingly.
Wee wee.
No,
Wee wee.
I didn't know.
Plan A was to get her to go wee wee.
Wee wee.
I'm hearing you. I'm listening to you.
I'm listening. I'm taking it in.
I'm
hilarious.
soaking in it. Soaking in it.
Soaking
right now.
in
Soaking in
wee-wee.
it.
Yeah.
Soaking in it.
Soniaing in it.
Yeah, because if Mule is the Serpico counterpart.
The
Sir-
Isidro.
Oh,
Isidro.
Isidro. I think Isidro is gonna do just fine there too, because Mule not that good of a fighter.
No.
I thought he was gonna get like a demon amp up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's competent. Actually, he does like crazy sword moves and stuff, but he's not like, I don't think he's magically enhanced.
Well, he's not
Yeah, no,
magically
no.
enhanced, and even like he takes them down pretty easily when they're on the boat. And he's like, "Haha, you can't fight on uneven land." And
Yeah,
then
I mean, it's-
Isidro's like, "I can."
Yeah, they
It's
both
rough because he
excel.
loses a fight to a guy in crutches.
But that was weird. Who is that guy? He's
Oh, yeah,
just
this guy
a-
keeps popping in and out.
yeah, he is in and out.
And he does look familiar. And a character in universe says that he looks familiar too. He's wearing this armor that looks like he has like a little mustache on it.
Mhm.
For a second,
He's
I thought
short.
Mule transformed into him.
I was the most confused when I was reading that.
he popped out of the boat.
I
Yeah.
thought it was like, oh, Mule is like, this guy is playing human, but like if he actually loses, he'll be like, okay, I'm gonna like actually just kill them.
You know who I thought it was?
But it
was
was-
the guy from the Holy Chain Knights.
Maybe it could be a
That
be
cool
a-
guy, that like
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
of
yeah.
honor.
Yeah,
Oh.
But I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, he just like, he was just under, like he popped out of the, because the guy was about to kill Mule.
Mhm.
And then a guy in like that round mustachio armor is like,
Mhm.
no.
yeah.
Mhm.
And he comes back again. He comes back. He pops in, I think, like 2 more times.
Mhm.
And then it's never revealed. So I think they are building up to who that is, and we are going to be surprised, or we are going to remember. But he does look familiar, and that armor does look familiar.
I mean,
It's
highlight
guts.
of
freaking
the
way.
volume was Schierke in a different outfit.
Oh, that was cute. That was cute.
That was very cute.
I think that was very cute.
yeah.
I didn't like it because it was cute. It was
But
cute.
you didn't like it.
I didn't like it for her. You know.
I mean, she had to change because everyone was like, clearly that's a witch.
Yeah,
like
you
it wasn't
could not
working
be-
to her favor.
If you were trying to exaggerate looking like a witch, you couldn't do it. You're wearing the hat and everything.
Yeah, she's whole, staffing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I liked an excuse for her to wear a different outfit. But I
Yeah.
didn't like it for her. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
But that was a highlight. That was a cool moment. That was fun. After that,
This make actually mad.
after that, it was just it feels like it was mostly just the Farnese situation.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Farnese situation of the brother Magnifico,
Magnifico.
who's the worst of the siblings.
He really is. And there's another character that's introduced. What's his name?
Roderick?
Roderick. Yeah. And I was like, these guys are sus. But then I actually liked him more than the brother.
The fiance?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets a moment
was
right
cool.
at the end.
He was a little cool.
I'm a sucker anytime a story does that where it's like, oh, look, it's an asshole. And he's just like, we're gonna work together, gang. I'm like, oh, cool. I honestly I hope he joins. Like,
no. I really have warmed up to him a lot.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he's just like, I gotta impress. Like, that's my beloved. I have to impress her. Like, he's not just like, oh, this is a business deal. He's like,
he kind of got over that really quickly. He was like, I don't care about this country. Like when she started in the fan, he's like, I'm out of here. I don't care.
Well, because he cares about his country. Ilth or whatever. He's
like,
but like Roderick and Magnifico. They feel like older brothers who like smoke weed and who are like trying to start their own business. You know what I mean? And they're like, dude, trust me, dude. People are gonna like, if we launch this, dude, people are gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and there's a comedy moment where he like bombs in front of like the royal court, where he's just like, I'd like to reveal my grandpa. Farnese. There's just a panel of him going,
yeah.
Like that's where his story kind of ends.
I like that. And then we meet Farnese's mom, which is not a good person.
No, Farnese's mom is kind of dope, dude.
I mean, she's dope in the sense she's not a dope mom.
I think
she's astute person and can like pick up things, but she's not a cool person. She admits just being like, I left you on your own.
Heavy with her mom.
What do you think? What?
Yeah, I worked with her mom. Heavy.
She admits to neglecting her child on purpose.
She didn't say on purpose. She didn't say that. Cody,
how did you take it? How did you take when they're on the brick bridge and she's laying it all out for her, saying like your dad's scared of you? Like, how did you think that conversation
it seemed like it was
went?
a distant parent who's like, I don't that feeling of like trying to like not ease up, but like being like she's like being like not a tsundere mom, but that way of talking where it's just like, I'm holding a fan, by the way. I'm not doing an Italian thing.
Yeah, Magnifico.
Magnifico. She's like, you're stronger than you think you were, and I wasn't a good parent to you. That's where it seemed like that.
It felt like now that you're an adult, you'll understand more. Now I can talk to you like an adult. Like for the first time, like I can treat you and talk to you like an equal and tell you that, I don't know how you turned out the way you turned out because, I wasn't there. And maybe because I was such a bad parent, like it made you like this strong person who you are.
Yeah, I think it's like, she isn't a good mom, but like.
Well, she said, she admits
she's
that.
neat. It's like, I took it more as like this bittersweet, like.
Bittersweet's a good way to say it.
Like uniting with this parental who maybe wasn't even a parental figure and now just being like, look who you grew up to be.
But she also says it like, and I wish I would have maybe remembered verbatim what she said, but she also makes it seem like the dad was also the one who like sent her away, and like she's like, and I think she even like maybe alludes to the fact like I could have gone there more and I could have been there more. She's like, but I was a young queen, I don't know if she says that like yeah, she's like, I was young too.
I was a young queen.
I was a young queen. What am I gonna do?
And she's like, and I just, but like when she told her like, but like now, like you're so strong and your dad is afraid of you. Like basically like your dad's a bitch. And your dad is
she did say that in so many words.
Yeah, and your dad is afraid of you. And that's why he sent you away. You're so strong. I don't know where you get it from, but your whole life, You've done things and acted in ways that have been more courageous than like anybody. You've never been like apologetic about who you are, and you've always.
I mean, maybe she could have been. Maybe she should have been a little more. That's why I said
about sending people to be tortured to death.
Burning
down houses. You've never apologized.
Abusing her, slaves.
Or
her, what do you call them?
Best friend.
Yeah, best friend, brother.
And you live an unapologetic life.
Yeah. And you're so strong. You're like so strong.
But I mean, in that moment, Farnese really needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that moment.
Yeah. And I took it like she of course she was like regrets and stuff, but I did take it like we raised you in this certain way. And like, I don't know if
about
I wrote
regrets
it down.
go.
about regrets go.
I like it a lot.
I don't know. It
was good, solid.
It just seemed like she did it on like purpose, like purposely. It was just like, okay, we're gonna let you live your life as a child and not like be there.
So you read it more of her saying like, I did that so you would turn out this way?
No, because I think there was a line, and it's open to interpretation, but I think for me, like, there was a line.
This is probably down to like a sentence to probably clarify this.
Like, she literally says, like, I don't know how you turned out this way. I'm grateful that you did. I don't know how it happened.
I don't know how it happened because I didn't do anything.
And she's like, maybe, because then Serpico is overhearing, and she goes, maybe, she has this moment where she's like, maybe me being a bad mom was for the best. And Serpico's like, why would you say that?
Yeah, I guess that's not a good thing to say.
So that leads me to believe that she didn't do it purposely, because even in that moment, she's admitting that she's like, I don't know how my kid turned out this way because I wasn't there. But now that you're an adult and you understand that like life is a lot more complicated than it seems when you're a kid, I can have this conversation with you. I can talk to you and I can tell you that I love you and that I respect you and that I'm proud of who you've kind of grown up to be. In a sense, maybe I'm projecting a little bit onto.
Yeah, I think this comes. I think we're all just putting what we think.
Maybe we're all putting. We've all been a little.
Because I was like saying, like, he's probably meant that. I'm like, was that in there?
You're just making up lines.
Yeah.
Our relationship with our parents.
But yeah, that's what really. I mean, obviously, she was a troubled child. You know, what she did was not the best. But obviously, her home life wasn't the best.
Yeah.
So
How about
like
this for a line about a troubled child? It's like, you were troubled, but you were also a child, and you should have gotten help.
Yeah.
What that line? We'll work that into something.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the whole reason this is kicked off is now that she went back home.
To get a boat. Yeah.
Her brother Magnifico, who wants like an in on the family business, was like, okay, I got like a scheme. You're gonna marry my boy, and then I'll give you anything you want. She's like,
boy.
I want a boat to give to my friends. And he's like, okay, cool, and that'll really set it. That's what is the majority of the story is now about.
Yeah, and Serpico goes back. Goes back like, she's not coming back. So I'm gonna dip too. Have fun with your little elf
thing,
kingdom, and I'm out.
Which is just like, again, I understand why they're doing all this, but like the war against the apostles, they've seen dragons, they've fought crocodile men. They're like, Serpico is like has like these fetishes that are connected to him from an ethereal plane,
which he's formed like a bond with as he's used it to like pretty like he was like really like amping up like abilities and stuff. He's like, all right, well, we're done. Here's your fucking here's your little feather sword bag.
Like Isidro pretty much says, like, we've cheated death so many times together. You're just gonna leave? Yeah. Like, you're just gonna, this is all for nothing? And then even Guts has that moment, which was like crazy, like admitting like, oh, I wanted to have a fight with you one last time. Yeah. And he's just like, I have no more motivation for
that was him, like, I think extending a little olive branch.
It really was. Yeah.
Of him being
the
like,
only way to love is to fight.
I thought you wanted that rematch.
Yeah.
Like when someone goes like, I don't care anymore, you guys are kind of like, oh man, I thought.
It's like, you want to play Mario Kart again? I have no more motivation for this anymore.
I no longer wish to play Mario Kart.
No longer
exists.
And
it's like, oh, well, Guts is kind of like, oh, me neither.
No. I
didn't even like Mario.
I just said it to make you feel better.
Yeah, I mean, that's more.
Soon the day Guts, dude. And he didn't back. He was just like, well, okay.
Well, I was really saving that. That's like my thing.
He's like, that's all I had.
Yeah.
It was like, you really implied he wanted that fight.
He's like in the bed. He's like,
yeah.
I thought you wanted a rematch.
Yeah, I could have sworn that's what you were waiting for.
Yeah.
Is there really? No, I'm over that. Oh,
that was a long time ago, guys.
Farnese got a new guy I gotta watch out for.
But it was crazy because like the mom also like comes back to help. Like that's why I'm saying like, yeah, she was a bad mom, but I don't think she's a bad person, because she, even when she's like, when the people come to get Farnese and she does go home and she's like, this arranged marriage is happening in exchange for this boat, the servants come to get her, and her mom's like, where are you going? And she's like, oh, I'm going to this ball. And she's like, all right, let me go to this ball.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And then she even has that moment too with Serpico. Like, I guess they've never like she like knows of him, but like not really, which is like crazy. She's like, "Oh, you're Farnese's little friend, huh?" And he's like, "Yep, I've been with her since day one." And she's like, "That's cool. You're probably fucked up too, huh?"
Oh yeah, she did kind of say that.
Yeah, he's like,
She's
"Oh,
probably
she's
like,
pretty."
you're a little freak.
Yeah,
Too,
dude. He's like, "Wow, okay, she's
I like
really
this.
astute."
I do like this story of the royal mom who comes back and she's just a completely chill person. I wish it was like a cool thing, like for kids growing up when you're like, you find out your parents are just like, This your boy, your little boy?
Yeah.
He's a little freak, isn't he?
Yeah, to be with Farnese, like you must be a little freak. Huh?
That's when I really started liking this story.
But it was cool because I think she said something along the lines of like, just keep taking care of her, or like keep being there for her, or something like.
Yeah.
Just that she's also aware that like he has helped her so much, and that it is so nice that he's there for her, and she does go to the ball to kind of like have her back, to like make sure that like. She's not getting taken advantage of, or that, you know, she knows.
And yeah, she even knows what the brother's cooking up too.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I might have heard your little plan from
Well, that's
Dad."
what I mean.
And he's like, "What? You did?" Because they're trying to keep it from him. And
That's what I mean. Like, it's so funny because he's setting up this scheming, right? With his friend Roderick, and then they go to this ball and they're on the balcony and they're having this like, it's so funny because they're having this conversation of like, yeah, these fucking normies in there. Like, they don't know we're about to take over the world. And then he's like,
They're like,
"Mom, I didn't know you were here, Mom."
putting out the joint, like putting out the joint. No,
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Like,
we're about to fuck shit up.
You ever think that you and me are the only free-thinking people in the world?
all the rest of them are kind of like caged birds, And
Oh, it's caged. I think they do.
They
say,
do say
yeah,
that.
they do
They do say
caged
that.
birds. Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
everybody else is just living in their cages,
Yeah.
and we're the only ones that are ready to fly.
We're the only ones that have the key,
Yeah,
the key
yeah.
to the mind.
And then literally like, "Oh, what the Mom? I didn't know you were coming. You didn't say you were gonna be here."
And she's like, "Okay, I know what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
out
Are you doing
here."
another one of your things, Magnifico?
Yeah.
Another one of your schemes?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, this was good. Mom, this was different.
Mom, shut up.
Yeah.
Mom, it's not a pyramid scheme. They call it
Yeah. They call it
steps to success.
7 steps to success with my sister.
That sounds like a manga that's already been written.
Yeah. Like an isekai. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, an isekai. That's what it would be.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
The whole time this is
Yeah,
happening.
the peak of the comedic moment was when he tries to reveal his scheme.
Oh yeah.
That was beautiful. But like, we're still getting there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole. I mean, really. I mean, this is not. There's
Also,
not a lot to dwell on.
At one
here,
point,
really.
there's like a tiger that shows up. I'm like, all right, I was literally wondering, like, wow, it's been a long time since monsters have attacked.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
How's it gonna come into place? And I just see a tiger like eat someone. Like, oh, okay, so they're gonna fight tigers.
Not that I don't love Farnese, and not that I've kind of come around to her, but like it was really no guts, no Griffith, no monsters, not a lot of nothing here, and it was important for her. We also learned that like Serpico is very knowledgeable of like armies and their intent and their power and what weapons, and he has this knowledge of their banners and
it sort of be like the main gang. Their whole thing was like, man, like we don't have someone to watch after Casca now. No one knows how to cook anymore. We need. And when Guts is like, we need to go get her. It was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, doing stuff, and like it kind of became like they're gonna go interrupt like the wedding announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it became.
I object.
Yeah, it became like this ragtag group is like, well, we got to stop her from getting married.
Yeah. And then I mean, Serpico and Guts have a little fight, and Serpico's like main thing is like, I don't want him to like go berserk and like kill her eventually.
Well, yeah.
So that's his main motivation.
That was, I guess, good motivation, right? Because he does flashback. He's like, I'm not going to let that happen. And I love how it's drawn, and it looks like it's filmed through like a fisheye lens, and everything is like warped around him. And it was really cool. And that's a cool motivation. But like you were saying in the beginning of the episode, like they admit when they're talking to Isidro, like, yeah, I mean, we were going all out, but he didn't use the Berserker armor. Like he didn't do this.
He didn't use the crossbow.
Yes. He didn't use any projectiles, any of his little bombs. Like, so I don't know. They
were what I liked. Like Serpico leads them into like a duel and a thing where there's a lot of pillars, so like Guts can swing around a lot.
Mm-hmm. But he still does.
But yeah. Well, yeah. And then after the fight, they both kind of go like, well, Serpico, which is why I was like, yeah, they seem like more friends than like rivals. Because Guts was going, well, Serpico was doing this, he was doing this. And Serpico was like, well, Guts didn't do that.
Well, maybe now that, like, after we talked about it, the way we talked about it, how it was Guts extending that olive branch to be like, well, hey, what about that fight? And he's like, I don't care about that fight. Maybe this is Serpico coming back around and being like,
I cared about that
all
fight a little
right,
bit.
all right.
I wanted to fight.
I just wanted a little
Yeah,
fight.
yeah. And maybe that was him just like doing his part to mend the friendship, I guess.
Yeah, you know what? I think this whole arc that we covered was just a little Berserk slice of life storyline about going to a ball.
Going to a ball and then walking around this town that they were in, it does feel like it's not filler because there are important character moments, but it does just kind of feel like people are discovering things about themselves and, we're meeting new people.
Yeah.
Like Farnese's brother and Roderick.
Yeah. And Magnifico, when he get the king just gave like a big reveal speech.
Yeah.
And Magnifico goes, and I'd like to announce something.
Yeah.
My friend Roderick, or whatever, was it Roderick?
Yeah, Roderick, yeah.
And then my sister.
And guess what?
Yeah.
Where'd she go?
But Farnese?
And the king goes, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I thought.
She.
It was so funny. And that's right when the tigers just jump in. And again, like, not that it was...
Which is sort of like, that's like the end of the political scheming. That storyline little there was just...
And then we get another Guts line and goes, looks like the party's in full swing. And he comes in and I was like, pretty cool.
I was like, that's what it was all... Honestly, it all built up to that.
That's what it was all for.
Yeah, and then after a lot of people die, and people start seeing magic, and people are seeing Puck... they're seeing all the elves, like they're like, what? And everyone's like kind of freaking out, and then the king's just like, and that was an illusion.
And that, folks,
and that concludes our performance.
Yes.
Everyone, give a round of applause. Take a bow. Take a bow.
That concludes, the performance for tonight. Thank you all for being here. There is a war tomorrow.
A little teaser for you.
Just wanted to raise everybody's spirits.
People are yelling like, "There's no way that was." He's like, "Well, they could have drugged the wine."
Yes.
But it was all just a show
and
there.
Because
Farnese does magic. She's given like a magic ring, and she starts doing something like, "Well, your daughter's a witch." Like, nope. It was a little.
Illusion.
He goes. Well, what he also does too is kind of smart. He's like, well, isn't that what the cushions would want you to believe? Like, you're gonna be running around tomorrow like an idiot, dude.
Telling everyone my daughter's a witch. You fought magic tigers.
They're getting in your head.
This is what they want. Don't you people see?
And even Isidro was like, damn, that's pretty smooth.
Isidro's like, what?
Yeah.
And then he goes, illusion.
Oh, yeah.
And then here comes the king fu.
Yeah, the cushion king.
This is a puff of smoke.
Yeah, he goes, you think it was an illusion? And everyone's like, oh.
And he's like, fuck. And I would have got away with it if it wasn't for
the cushion
for
king.
your for you and your tiger. And your little tiger too.
You should have just said I would have gotten away with it and let it trail off.
And I would have gotten away with it.
And and I would have
you would help me out. But yeah, that was kind of funny because after that whole speech, and he did kind of convince everybody at the ball too. They're like, oh man, maybe it is. And then he did immediately. It's undercut with like, this is not an illusion.
That was real, and I will kill all of you.
Yeah, just wait. This is just the beginning of the madness.
And I think like. Is that kind of there's like one or two other things that happen, but it's not anything of like.
No, Guts is just pretty much slicing up the tigers, and he's like, "This is fun," and people are dying, and then we see a bunch of other monsters come up, and it's kind of like everywhere in the city, and then Roderick is just like, "So I still got that boat. If you guys want to head
actually,
out."
I have a war boat.
Yeah, he's like, it's like the equivalent of being like, I have a yacht.
For
do
real.
you guys want to go party on my yacht?
And,
like everything blows over.
And how Roderick's just like, we still doing the marriage thing.
Yeah,
and I was like, this guy seems pretty chill.
It was funny too because like it did just the way he was saying it too was like, yeah, I can give you a ride. It's kind of on my way back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he was like, Magnifico, you want to go here anyway too, right? That's kind of on the way, dude. Like, just come on. You want me to give you a ride?
While
Give you a
everyone's
ride?
dying, there's like
everyone's
screaming
getting
in the
massacred.
background, and
Yeah.
he's so happy.
Yeah.
He's just so happy. It's hilarious.
Dude, just give me some alone time with her and let me chat her up.
That's what he says.
I
Like,
really
does.
think
Yeah.
we've got something.
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
Let
I
me show her my cool side.
I
Yeah.
have never not loved the twist of the like the cold like version being turned out to be like, you think it'll work?
Yeah. He doesn't want to give up. He's like, I'm not giving up on this yet.
I mean, he realizes like how cool she is. He was like, "Oh, I thought she was maybe just like a princess, like a Charlotte type, but like she's actually badass."
That's
Like,
the cool thing.
she has like that moment where everyone's like freaking out, and then she like goes in to like kill them, and everyone's like, "What?"
It was
is
like
she
with a
doing?
fire poker and like
Yeah.
jams it in
And
its
she's like-
candelabra.
ah.
She's like
Yeah.
Was it silver?
Silver.
silver. Yeah, she goes, "Kill that thing with the silver sword."
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a moment for her, and everybody else got to, like, her family got to see, like, how strong she is, how far she's come. And then who she's with, they're like, what has she been up to?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
met some wild folks.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
But then they get into this big fight, and then another elephant thing.
Elephant, yeah, Elefante.
Another elephant in the room.
Another
oh,
elephant at the ball. I maybe dropped the ball.
Yeah, I mean, this whole fight was a ballroom blitz.
There we go. And then now we're back.
that was good.
I again, it's not that I don't think these monsters are like cool. They're just not as cool as like the crocodile men are kind of cool, but the tigers,
They're kind of scary. Their eyes are very scary.
compared to some of the other monsters.
I
that
mean,
we've
Yeah,
seen.
what I liked about the crocodile was like, oh, that's like a saurian. That's like a fantasy creature.
Yeah.
And here's them explaining what this is. And with the tiger, you know, the alligator's got like spears.
Yeah.
And the tiger's got like messed up jaws. I'm like, man, a tiger on its own. Like,
Yeah.
what's
These
the
are bigger
difference in the-
tigers.
Were they a little bigger?
Yeah.
Well, they're all
Oh,
bigger.
they're all a little
The
bigger.
alligators became humanoid, and like Cody said, had weapons, and we're like, I don't know, it looked cool.
I feel yeah.
And it was like their explanation of these fantasy creatures, but the tigers were just like, I don't know, whatever. It was cool. It was nice to see Guts. It was nice to see some action again.
Yeah.
Because it really went a long time without it.
And it kind of just ends on that note of him just fighting and kind of like struggling a little bit, and then he's just like, I have to continue, and that's where it.
Yeah, it ends kind of like, and it really does perfectly end with like all of them back together. Like, you know, Farnese has got her vines now, and Serpico's got his, you know, his sylphs or his sliffs or whatever back, and you know, it's like this shot of all of them, and it's like, well, I guess it's basically like, well, it's time to rock and roll, and it's this moment where you can just see the camera kind of push in on all of them.
But you say the damn thing begins. I was
Yeah.
like, Guts.
And,
Guts.
Yeah, we've got an armored ship. We got like 2 more boys to come with us.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because there's a Berserk lo-fi playlist, like a video that I've been watching, and it's Schierke like writing like the lo-fi girl, but
Oh,
she's
that's
on a
cool.
boat. But she's on a boat, and I was like, why is
That's
she on
awesome.
a boat? Why is she on a boat? But I get why she's on a
That's
boat. now.
awesome.
So we need to just make a lo-fi thing of us.
Yeah.
Or it can be Volume 1 channel, like writing and like just have us like do like one of our things like in the background, or like walk by and everything.
I mean, we should make that, or if anybody, you know,
Wants
watching and
to
listening
make
wants
it.
to make that,
That
that'd
would
pretty
be
awesome.
amazing.
Because
Do
that's
the
something
finger thing.
that's something we could just like you
Do
know
the finger thing.
finger thing.
If you could
Oh.
make that,
Yeah.
that would be amazing. I'm utilizing it. If you could,
Someone left a review because of the finger thing. And so maybe someone will help us.
Oh, look at that.
I would really love it. Thank you.
That is the worst face you've made. You do the pouty face.
There you
Yes.
go. There you go. Yeah, now someone's for sure gonna make it.
The lip purse where you're going like how you when you say dough, you know, when you're like, it's kind of good dough.
Can you make it dope?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you talk. I don't-
Yikes.
Yikes.
That's pretty much it. Final thoughts on these 3
Um,
volumes. Not my favorite. There were standout moments, important moments. Started strong, petered out, but came back to a place at the very end where I'm excited to read the rest of this arc, and I know it's going to pick up and be better.
Yeah,
for me.
if the format's gonna be like we're gonna just get like a little arc for every character now.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll feel like it fits in more.
Mm.
Like if the next one's gonna be Serpico doing maybe I should stop. Like honestly, I'm like, man, I hope they get together.
Serpico and Farnese?
Yeah, well,
Aren't they?
Although now they're
Oh,
not.
They're
yeah,
half. They're like
Oh,
they're
yeah, they're
related.
half.
Was that the
half siblings.
reveal?
They revealed that a while
half
ago.
siblings, yeah.
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 Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
never
it is
mind.
medieval times, so
Well,
Yeah, I mean, people got with their not have.
People
got with their fulls back then. But also her fiance seems like a chill
Got with
guy.
their daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and she kind of, I mean, like I don't know. He has a charm to him. I think.
Like it doesn't do the thing where he's just like,
yeah. She's kind of like into it too. Like he's like, I want to show her my cool side, and she kind of just like a blushy thing, and I'm like, okay, Farnese.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like maybe Serpico and Schierke, maybe.
No.
What? No, Schierke and Schierke
and Schierke.
Schierke and Schierke like would make a terrible.
Well, they're children now.
Yeah, they're children now.
What's going to be cool as they mature and get older, then they're going to form a relationship as time goes on.
Schierke's going to be a small guts.
Okay.
Lower intestine. Small intestine. I fucked up.
Oh, that's really good. I like that a lot. What do you guys have to say about these volumes that we haven't already said?
Like I said, I mean, I was, super excited. Obviously, it's Berserk, so I'm excited to see the characters in general. I did think that it was like the slowest couple of volumes that I've read of Berserk because of like the warlord stuff. And if that interests you, then you'll really like these volumes because there is a lot of heavy talk about these things. But it did feel just like, we're going to like just wrap up this world real quick with the wars and all that shit just to get to the good stuff. Like, I feel like it'll now become this more grander thing. Obviously, we're coming towards the end, so that makes me sad. But we did get a amazing possible Guts Jr. reveal.
Yeah.
We got an amazing, Schierke moment. We got an amazing, reveal, about Griffith and Charlotte and Sonia. Like, how is that going to play out? How is Sonia maybe going to stop that from happening? Who knows? I mean, there's just like so many implications, little things throughout that kept me like, okay, I'm on board. I mean, I'm not like completely out, but it was just like, let's get to the end of volume 30. Let's get back into it,
Yeah.
I do like the setup now where it's just like because the story already changed to where like, well, now monster attacks every night art an issue, which I like it, if it turns out to be consistent, that now all Guts does is sleep because he like wasn't able to before. So like, if like beyond like having to recover, if he is just like, oh, I need to catch up on all the sleep I've missed out on,
That'd be kind of funny.
that'd be funny.
Gut.
Because now it's like, well, they're just on a boat, so outside of sea monsters. And it's like now timeline wise, it's like, well, they're just gonna bump into like the story now. It's like,
I think
it's a good setup to start wrapping it up.
And I hope they're gonna get to the land of the elves pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully in the next volume, I would love to see that.
I feel like that's the end goal.
You think that's the end of the story?
I mean,
because we got to wrap up also what's happening with Griffith too, though. I mean,
that's why I figure it would end with them reaching the Elf Kingdom.
But we have to remember that it's like it's not gonna be like wrapped up. Like we're like, oh, this is gonna get a payoff. This is gonna get a payoff. This is gonna get a payoff, and it's like, but I don't. Like, well, there was unfortunate.
I don't. I tried to stay away from exactly what the final chapter is.
Yeah.
From what I gathered, it did seem like people were, for the most part, kind of just happy with what they got.
My friend he's caught up on it. He was basically just like, what else could you hope for?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm just like, it's just such an amazing story, and like having all these ideas of how this is going to be wrapped up, and just unfortunately, it's just going to be like this, Yeah,
I do think that I do have complete faith that it's going to get so much like it's going to return to form and just be back in these later volumes, in these last volumes, to the magic and the story that we were just so hyped about. Go ahead, Cody.
Okay, because there's only 3 things that need to happen: is the Guts Griffith thing getting resolved, whatever is happening to Guts Jr. to be figured out, and then reaching the Elf Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And did you say Casca too? Figuring out what happens to Casca.
Well, that's part of the Elf Kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why I feel like if it ends with them literally just being, oh, we're here now, it can kind of be like, all right, well, I think that would be a good note, especially if it's like, oh, here's like the unknown future, especially given what happened with the author. That's why I figure it would be the last panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. Either way, I still want to be very clear and say that this is one of my favorite stories ever. And just because I did feel like it hit a little bit of a lull in these 3 volumes does not mean that it changes how I feel about the series at all. I still am absolutely in love with it. A lot of these things I feel like, were nice and needed to happen. Again, my biggest critique, and the one thing that is just not for me necessarily, is the monarchy, the war, the armies, especially, again, when they're about armies and people and characters that I don't care about, and when it's sacrificing time spent with the characters that I do care about. I do think that the last back half of this, like Falconia arc, is going to be fantastic. I'm here for it, and I'm really excited to get there. But I think that's probably gonna do it for our discussion on volumes 28, 29, and 30. Let us know how you feel about all of these arcs. If you feel similarly sort of fatigued, or if it was kind of like hard for you to get through, especially if you were somebody who was having to wait. Like, we just got to meet one of our listeners, Frozen Arbiter, and he was saying that, like, he took 5 years off of reading Berserk and was like, I'll come back, when it's finished or whatever. And just the amount that was written in the time that he took off was like almost nothing, but just because of how long it took to come out. And so can you imagine just having to wait years to get through sort of the 3 volumes that we got through in this episode? So I don't know. I'm curious to know how that felt like for you, if you did read them as they were coming out, and like what that was like, and what that experience was like. But in general, how you feel about it, what you think. Maybe give us some more comments and stuff and theories and stuff that we can do another sort of arc wrap up and address some of your corrections, comments, theories, all that. That's going to do it for another Berserk volume done. A couple weeks, we'll get to the back half of Falconia. The only thing we got to do now, before we get to our outro that's always the same and never changes, is thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing, our fetishes, our
queen ducks,
our swans,
Yeah.
Are you guys tigers? Because you're great.
You're okay. Our Patreon members, every single one of you guys. I mean, if you guys left the Patreon to go get married, I would try to stop that marriage from happening.
If you guys asked me to get on a boat, I would get on a boat with you.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, what are the perks of subscribing to Patreon?
Oh man, if you subscribe to the Patreon, and this is at our lowest tier, at the absolute lowest tier, Cody, for just $3, you can get access, not only early access to all of our episodes, but you can also get access to our exclusive bonus podcast, Volume 1 Extra, which is a Patreon exclusive, where we talk about, things that are happening in anime and manga, things that are happening in our lives, movies, video games, books. We talk about everything and anything we want to talk about. And like I said, for just $3, you can get access to that and early access to all of our videos. And if you are part of the Patreon, then again, we love you and we appreciate you. It's because of you that we get to keep doing what we love doing. And you guys mean the world to us. So thank you very much. And really quick, before, I sense another maybe spiel coming on, I just want to say that if you do want to become a Patreon member, you just got to go to patreon.com/volume1pod.
Patreon.com/volume1pod, you say?
Yes. Once again, Cody, that is patreon.com/volume1pod.
Now this Patreon gang, these sound like a bunch of cool folks.
The coolest, the elites.
And I'll tell you what another group of cool folks is the Algorithm Gang.
Oh, wow. Tell me about them.
Well, Megan, do you have the dossier?
Oh, little bit of a delay.
Dossier, more like hooray. You can join the Algorithm Gang. All you have to do to join the Algorithm Gang is you comment anything you want pretty much on any of our episodes, any of our YouTube episodes. You can comment a period, you can comment a comma, or you can comment Volume 1 gang. And what does that do for us, Cody?
Oh, back with a delay, a little bit of a delay there.
Well, Megan, each interaction, including anything, it boosts the numbers in the algorithm, which includes percentages from getting ad money. So even a thumbs up you can view as a little tip, little tip in the tip jar for your old pals at Volume 1.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for another way outside of all that to support, you can click the link down below to get yourself a Band of the Cock tee and be part of the band yourself.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! The only only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today, of course, is
Set sail for adventure.
I like it, dude. I like it, dude. Yeah.
What else is tigers, crocs, see you later, alligator.
But
Really good, dude.
Lions, tigers, and bears.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Yeah. I do think my favorite so far is see you later, alligator.
Okay, yeah.
Because obviously because why?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Set Sail for Adventure is really good too.
Well, so we can use it for something else.
Yeah, we'll use it for the next outro.
They just got the boat.
That's true, and there's gonna be a lot of boat heavy stuff happening.
Just
boatload.
opens with a boat crash.
There's gonna be a boatload, yes, of boat stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and until next time, we'll see you later, alligator.
And a wild crocodile.
Wild crocodile. Because they were crocodiles.
Yeah, they were crocodiles.
Yeah, that's what. You know when they were fishing.
Yeah.